Hey, what's up guys, I am Sam. Today I'm here with an After Effects tutorial after a long time. Alright, so let's just have a look at what we're gonna create today. Alright, so here we have Satyam, who also likes to call himself Chrome. And here we have this nice effect, and this effect is basically from NFS Most Wanted. It's kind of like the effect where they introduced their rivals in the blacklist, and I kind of used and did some changes to achieve this effect. So let's just get started. And also I don't have the footage, it got lost somewhere. You know, this was a 3-year-old project. So I'll just use this footage for the tutorial. So I'll just take this footage and drop it onto this icon to create a new composition, and we'll just maybe have it like 680 for now, or maybe 675. That is okay. And then what we're gonna do is find the point where he stops. So this is the point, and what we're gonna do is take the pen tool and create a mask around him. But first we will duplicate this footage, so we'll just duplicate it, Control D to duplicate, and then we'll create a mask around him. Ooh, that's close. Yeah. So we are done with the mask, and by the way, to maximize this panel you can just hit the tilde key, which is below the escape key. And you know, we could have used the roto brush tool, but I like to do it this way. I find it more accurate. I believe in my own hands, you know. Alright, so what we have here now is just him. So what we're gonna do is select the layer, and we can just rename it to Chrome. And then we can go to Effect, Stylize, and Posterize. And then we'll kind of change the level value just a bit, maybe 6. And then we'll go to Effect, Color Correction, and Tint. And then maybe Effect, Color Correction, and Brightness and Contrast. And maybe increase the contrast to 40 maybe. And the brightness to 10. Then what we'll do is maybe just select the Chrome layer and hit M and hit MM to bring up the mask properties, and we'll set the mask expansion to -2 and set the mask feather to maybe 1, maybe 0.5. Right, so what we're gonna do now is trim the layer. So we can just drag it like that, or we can hit Alt plus begin bracket to trim it. And what we'll do is right click on the layer, go to time and freeze frame, so that we get a still frame of him. And then what we'll do is hit T for opacity, and we can set a keyframe, move the keyframe a bit ahead, and set the opacity to 0. And the keyframe should be like 2 or 3 frames ahead. So 1, 2, 3. You can use page up to move 1 frame at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. And you also need to hit S for scale and hold shift and hit P to bring up the position properties. And then we'll set a keyframe for both of these, and we'll move a few frames ahead and then increase the scale so that we can see his face, maybe 300. And then bring the position down like that. We have this now. And what else we can do is go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and increase the sharpness. So we'll just sharpen the footage to maybe 10 like that. And I think we should just remove the feathering for now, so we'll hit F and set it to 0. Yes. So let's see what we have here. We can just toggle the switches and enable the motion blur for the layer and the composition as well, and also enable the footage layer. And you'll also need to split the footage from this point. So we'll go to Edit, Split Layer, And then we'll do the same thing, go to time and freeze frame. So now let's see what we have here. Right, not bad. We need to do some adjustments. So what we'll do is hit U, select these keyframes, right click and keyframe assistant and select easy ease so that we have some easiness. And what we'll also do is animate the effects. So we'll come to the point where he settles in right here, and we'll set a keyframe for all of these. So we can just go and keyframe all of that, and then we'll come to the point where everything starts, and we'll set everything to 0. And in the post rise, we'll just increase it to maybe 40. We'll hit P and we'll just move ahead a few seconds, and we'll just shift him on the x-axis like that. And we also need to get rid of the background. So what we'll do is go to Google Images and search for metallic grunge texture. And you can also use the tools so that we get a high quality image. So we can just go and select the size larger than 2 megapixels. So we'll get some high quality backgrounds. And we'll just select a cool looking one, maybe this one. So we'll just download it and then import it into After Effects and drop it into our project above the footage layer, so that we have this, and we can hit S and scale it down maybe. Maybe you can just brighten this up. So we'll go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves, and just brighten up a bit like that. And then what we can do is fade it in when everything starts. So we can just bring it back in here and hit T, add a keyframe, shift the keyframe a few frames ahead, and then set it to 0 so that it fades in like that. So let's see what we have here. Boom. As you can see, the effect was okay, but it swings like that. So in order to fix that, we will hit P and we'll select one of the keyframes, and you can see these tiny dots. So all you need to do is just select these and straighten them up like that. So now the animation will be straight like that. Alright, that looks cool. What else we can do is hit P and we can shift this keyframe to make the animation more long. Maybe we can just sharpen the background a bit. So go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and give it some sharpness. And maybe you can scale it up to see the depth like that. And now time to write the name. So now we can use Google Images again and maybe search for paint brush stroke maybe, and we will select any one of them, the one that is a bit straight. So we can just go to PNG and select any one of them. I think this one will work for now, and then import it into After Effects and bring it to our composition. So now we see a problem, which is we have this white background that we can get rid of by changing the transfer mode. So we'll just select darken or maybe multiply and hit T for opacity and decrease the opacity a bit, maybe 82. Let's see how color burn works. I think that is better. So now what we'll do is try to write out his name with this swatch. So let's write Chrome for now. So what we can do is rotate it negative 90 degrees or maybe negative 180. Just scale it down, hit S, scale it down, and just zoom in a bit and maybe just scale it like that and put it in here. And then we'll duplicate it, Control D, and bring it down like that, and then duplicate it once again and we'll rotate it like that. And then we'll try to write out his whole name like that. So we'll just do with the C, then H. Alright, now we have spelled out his name. Alright, so what we'll do now is take all these layers and pre-compose them. So Control Shift C, pre-compose, and we can just right here paint name, maybe hit enter, and we have this. And to fix this, what we can do is enable continuous rasterization, so we'll have the same effect that we had before. What we'll do is double click on it, and we need to animate each of these. So the name is actually not visible here, so we'll just need to create a new gray solid and place it below everything so that we see the name in here. So we'll just take these layers and pre-compose each of the letters. So Control Shift C, and this is the letter C. Alright, so we have spelled out his name, CHROME, and we have all them in different compositions. And also we can just enable continuous rasterization for all these compositions. And now we can go to individual compositions and animate the characters. So we can go to C first, and what we'll do is go to Effect, Transition Linear Wipe. What we'll do is set the transition completion to 100, set a keyframe and move a few frames ahead and set it to 0 so that it reveals itself like that. We can also feather it to make it a bit smooth, and we'll have something like this. And we'll just copy this effect and paste it on to all the layers. So we'll have something like this. And then we can go and animate each characters in there. So we'll just paste it like that. And now we can see what we have there. It looks cool, kind of cool. And we can just shift these compositions so that each character comes out after the other. So H is okay. We'll shift the layer for R, and then maybe O, then M, and then E, so that the animation is procedural like that. Make this gray solid a guide layer. So now let's see what we have here. Right, so the animation was too fast. What we can do is maybe first of all trim the composition. So Alt begin bracket and go to time stretch and speed it down. So we'll just set the stretch factor to 200 so that it's 2 times slower. Now we'll just play it. And to revert the animation, what you can do is fade out this background and also the text layer, and select the chrome layer and hit P, make a keyframe, move a few frames ahead, and take the first keyframe that we had, go to edit, copy, and go to edit, paste. Also scale the layer down, so we'll just make a keyframe for the scale and scale it down to 100, and there we have him back. And then we can also fade out the opacity. Let's just do it and fade it out, everything. You can also do some color correction, so you can create a new adjustment layer. And to save some time, I made a preset for myself that you can download from the description, and it can color correct your videos like that. And what I like to do is duplicate this layer, and what you can do is delete everything but the curves effect, and from the second layer you can delete the curves. And then for the first layer, you can just hit T and decrease the opacity like that. Alright, so I remember doing one more thing in this effect, and that is a bit of camera shake. Alright, so what we can do is take this composition and drop it onto this icon, and we can go to Effect, Expression Controls, Slider Control, and hit P. What we'll do is Alt click on the position, and we'll just write an expression which is wiggle, open parentheses, and maybe 10, comma, and we'll use the pick whip and select this value and close the parentheses. And now what we can do is animate the slider. And now what we can do is animate the slider and maybe just increase the value up to maybe 10, and then add another keyframe a few frames ahead and set it to 0. And you can see these black stripes. So to fix that, we can just scale up the footage a bit, maybe 103. And also we can enable the motion blur for the layer and the comp. And now let's see what we have. Alright, that's it. Obviously you can do some changes and play with the values to make this look even better. I hope this tutorial helped you, and if it did, give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and goodbye. Bam.